Hello everyone, Optimus Prime here. As a follow-up to my Transforms Element, Op Leader, and Magic Square Light of Freedom reviews, I want to do just a focused video share out on comparing and contrasting these two videos and these two figures, more specifically, so you can decide which one of these two is right for you if you're interested in picking one up. And again, I'll have links in the description below. Definitely go out and price shop for these guys. They could be anywhere from like $115 to $140. It sort of depends. I think I'm into them for kind of like $120-ish sort of price. So that's kind of like the range and the cost you're looking to pay when you shop around and pick this guy up. Again, I've got full video reviews of each of these back on the channel, so check those out. If you really want the figure-by-figure in-depth review, check me out on Instagram and check out my Amazon page, linked down in the description as well. So we'll start off here in truck mode. I think a few things that jump right out at you. One will be color, darker red, darker blue, more of a silver for the chrome. Whereas here you've got flatter red, flatter blue, very bright, shiny chrome. So that kind of pops right away. You got the stripe over here on Magic Square. This one's Magic Square, by the way. This one's Transforms Element. So that's a choice. I don't know if it's a deal breaker, but if you prefer one, you definitely get the stripe on the Magic Square. Magic Square on the stacks, just so you know, I mean, I like the short stacks, but you could make them longer if that mattered to you. So you have some options there, which is nice. The other thing you'll notice here on the profile is definitely just the sleeker kind of back section of the cab. You get kind of the chunkier effect here, kind of like MP10, maybe even worse, which is the legs stacking up here. Because of the more complex transformation here, you spend more time doing the transformation, but you get a better truck mode, I believe, particularly towards the back end of the figure. So you definitely will notice that. Here's a back end view of the figures, which really just accentuates that point. You see how high Magic Square sits up, and further you have the whole waist section even back here behind the cab. And the other thing to note around back is there is no way to hook up an MP10 trailer to Magic Square. With Transforms Element, you do get a little parts format attachment piece that will work right there. And then here, if we take the head-on look, definitely some differences. I think Magic Square, the cab's a bit just overall bigger, definitely wider, probably pretty comparable height-wise. But you have bigger windows here and shorter grille versus smaller windows and longer grille over here. Kind of like what they did with the lights here, versus just the silver kind of chrome finish. You actually have some lights molded in. Both have wipers. They look a bit different. I don't know that it matters, but there's a difference there. Yellow accents up there on the top of the cab lights versus orange over there for Magic Square. And then here for truck mode, if you look at the finish, Magic Square, a bit more plain molding-wise I'm speaking about. So they do a nice job with the steps and putting in some black accents there, but otherwise, Magic Square is mostly smooth plastic with some select molding here or there. You'll notice on Op Leader, much more molding through there. It's all red, so it's kind of subtle, but you definitely notice it in hand. Again, rivets for like panels, doors, very well sort of molded in there, kind of the handles and things like this. So you get a lot more molded effect through the cab, and even in the front. Again, more rivets through here as well. And then even in the back, for like the trailer section, or where you would hook up the trailer, I should say, here. Again, Magic Square really just looks like his legs sitting there. You can flip one panel here, but with Op Leader, you get like some diamond plate sort of texture up there, other sort of molding, so it looks more naturally like the back end of a cab. So for me in this mode, it was, I think, an easy call for me that Transforms Element Op Leader is definitely the better alt mode of the two. Okay, let's get into bot mode now. I will say, just in terms of transformation, I'm not going to show it. You can go back into their video reviews back on my channel to see the transformations. Again, Op Leader, much more complex in terms of number of steps, but beautifully engineered. If you know the steps and you work through it, everything just works so well, I think. Magic Square, good transformation, some complexity there, but not near as much as OP Leader. I will say overall for these two, they both work well in transformation. Really, I would say it's Magic Square that has maybe my most pet peeve point of transformation. That's getting these panels out of the back end of these arms. There's just not a lot of clearance there. Everything's really jammed in there. So of these two things, when I think about the most difficult part of the transformation, actually, it's sometimes dealing with lack of clearance and jamming things into this arm. That's the most annoying part. So just for some context in terms of really like complexity, but smooth, works well engineered, versus still good transformation, enough complexity to make both modes look pretty good. But it's this little annoyance clearance issue that actually bugs me the most. But wide angle here, and I won't do much time on the heads here. I just want to show you, you get two different heads for OP leader. And this one kind of comes off more of the color and look of the primary Magic Square head. With Magic Square, you got like a rounded, helmeted look as well. So between the two, I think you can get kind of both looks. So I kind of call it parity between the head sculpts. Then we get into the bulk of the bot here. And if you want to see a tune accuracy comparison, check out my op leader video where I have some cartoon shots up and compare him as to why I think he's the most tune accurate. But also just go through some of the compare contrast between these figures. The big, bulkier chest should really jump out at you, which then gives to a smaller grill section. So you have longer grill over here. The stripe still flips out, which I think is super slick on Op Leader, so you still get the overall right look. So I think this torso look is better with the bigger chest, smaller grill versus what you get with Magic Square. The arms, thinner, longer bicep section versus Magic Square, kind of overall bulkier and really not much to speak of in terms of a bicep section there, plus a bit of an unsightly hinge up there on the inside of the elbow. I do like the sizing of the Magic Square pipes versus Op Leader. I wish these would have been sort of, scrunchable or something to make them fit better the bot mode. You'll notice the windshield wipers go away because there's a faux front end for Op Leader, so you don't have to deal with the wipers on the front end. Again, tune accurate, love that about Op Leader. Believe on the Autobot signals, that was a sticker that came in the box, and it fits right on to a nice sort of engraved, if you will, indented place on the shoulder. I want to say for Magic Square, that was just a sticker that I had around, so I put that on myself, if memory serves. And then again, you'll notice some little things, yellow lights versus orange, more round versus, a different sort of more ovalist shape. The yellow accents are painted there versus just molded there. So little things like that. Then you come down to the legs, and it's the white. This is huge for me in terms of just the better look and the more tune accuracy, just the white. Hips and thighs looks phenomenal, and really get a yellow there versus like a translucent yellow plastic over here. So that's, I think, a big improvement. And then again, it's a bit the lankiness, right? So we look at these legs, just kind of have this look, even though these figures for all intents and purposes are the same height, there's no meaningful difference there, but just this slender look makes the legs look a bit longer, and they're definitely less bulky. So I love that. I think it's more tune accurate. I think the tanks here, I think they've got the right size here. You might like the fact that it's really small and tidied away, but I think in terms of the scale, in the cartoon it's kind of all over the place, but Op Leader's got a good fit there. The molding through the leg in Op Leader is more tune accurate. When you just look at how this fits on the front end, this indentation, especially all of this through the upper thigh, more tune accurate. And you do get better the kind of blue undercrotch section, which with Magic Square, they foregone that piece. Or actually it's under there, but so small you can't really see it. Really even looking at the figure straight on, but it's down there. And one last thing with Op Leader, I just think you get a better foot. Kind of two pieces, that stick out better. Magic Square's feet, kind of nubby. Maybe we'll get into just a bit quickly on the inside of their chest here. When you open up these, you get these different looks inside, and then you can flip up even this piece. It's kind of difficult to get that piece up. So you have that, so it has the cover, which I think is good. I will say what's cool about Magic Square that you do get some like battle damage accessories, so you can swap out the windows and also the front kind of ab sections there to get some damage look like from the movie. So that's a cool little gimmick that this guy has. Profile shot here, again, you get just a side shot of these pipes. I think Op Leader's arm, not only just skinnier, but it is a bit longer even in length there, if you didn't notice from the front. And again, here you get a good perspective on the sizing of those tanks. And if you get the arms up out of the way, not a lot much there different to worry about. I think those both look pretty good from that midsection profile. And if you didn't notice, Op Leader, again, just one of their complaints has sort of a sliding mechanism that protrudes there on the side of the ankle pivot, and also just some transformation. Back at the figures here, and again, both are good. You don't get as many screw holes with Magic Square as you do with Op Leader. Op Leader went for the more kind of protruding central back section, which I think is fair, you can do, and you see that on the tune. Op Leaders is much flatter and sort of has these kind of two tank sections alongside, what's still a long middle back section. So similar, but they went about it in a different way and just overall made it flatter, as you saw from the profile. Magic Square gets all the stripes that come around the back for the cab. Op Leader keeps it red all the way around because those are actually plastic transforming parts. The kibbles are in their, just different areas. It's there. Magic Square, you get some of the bumper coming around here. With Op Leader, it sort of becomes that back end waist skirt. And again, the blue piece, got a picture in front of me. I don't know. I would think Op Leader would be a bit better just kind of being more underneath versus Magic Square sort of rides up into the butt crack. But both really do finish nicely down the back of the leg. Maybe give Op Leader a bit of a nod here because you got blue all the way thigh down. Magic Square, you kind of have the ratchet joint in there at a gray color. Let's check out the hands here. Magic Square, you have individually articulated fingers, all four, kind of a base knuckle and a middle knuckle pinned in, and then a thumb that also is like on a joint, ball joint at the base, and then you get a mid knuckle. So the possibilities of articulation are much more, though I will say it's kind of loose and floppy, at least on mine. Then with Op Leader, you don't get as much. You kind of have the bottom three stuck together as one with, again, a base knuckle and a mid knuckle. Trigger finger are separately articulated, base and mid knuckle. And then the thumb, this is one area where it could have improved towards Magic Square. You really just have a hinge here that goes like this. You don't have a ball joint to move it around. And then again, you get that mid knuckle as well. So a bit less articulation in the hand, but the pins are nice and super tight. For articulation, just let me highlight a few key differences. Again, you can see the full articulation in the video review. We'll say at the shoulder with Op Leader, you get a ratchet that has, click-in spots. Magic Square, it's more just tension there. So it could be good or bad either way, just depending, both work. I do kind of like the tension, actually, because there's no limitation to what position you can have the arm in. Obviously, the hand here I mentioned, fully articulated on Magic Square. At the waist on Magic Square, you can spin it all the way around if that matters. I think you get plenty still with Op Leader by basically being able to go, all the way like that to the side. But then also, because the way Magic Square transforms, you sort of get a hinge joint there, which is good and bad. I mean, it's good to have it, I guess, rather than not, but is definitely can be unsightly because it's really more for transformation probably, but can pull off some articulation movements and look okay from the right angle. But at least it's there. I think the other item would then just be the hip rotation. There's nothing up at the hip for Op Leader, whereas with Magic Square you get the rotation up there. Both have ratchets. Magic Square is a lighter ratchet, Op Leader a heavier ratchet on the legs. And then at the knee here, you don't get any rotation at the knee with Magic Square, whereas with Op Leader, that's where they put that articulation at the knee. So you kind of have that trade-off between the two. Both have the option to do something with pointing the leg. They just execute it differently. And finally here, some point with the, the foot. You can kind of point up the toe and rock it with Op Leader. I think with Magic Square, yes, you got a great rock in there. Yes, you can point the toe, and then it points down as well because, again, it sort of folds up how it transforms. So you don't really get the toe point with Op Leader. I think one other point, just in terms of heft and build, I believe Magic Square 13.5 ounces, Op Leader 19. So, 5.5 ounces of heft difference to the advantage of Op Leader, and you definitely feel that in hand. This guy's got a nice chunky weight to him. Feels really good. So that's pretty much, it's like a 30% weight difference. So definitely some heftier materials used there with Op Leader. Let me show you here some of the accessories differences. Magic Square, Op Leader. Obviously the color jumps out at you. Some slight differences in the shape, but definitely both recognizable. It's Optimus's gun. A little chunkier towards the barrel than for Magic Square than Op Leader. bigger magazine clip here, if you will, than Magic Square for Op Leader. But, you know, I think they both work. Not a big deal. Op Leader does have a light up in the gun, though, so that is unique. Little button there you can push. That's unique to it. Then here we have the axes. Magic Square over here. It's way undersized. You know, I called that out in the review. Just way too small of an axe blade. Got the nice bigger base with the spikes on it, so that's pretty cool. But Op Leader here, you definitely get a right-sized axe, so it proportionally works much better for the figure. That's kind of everything, guys. The Op Leader versus Magic Square comparison. Again, it's all personal preference, really, so you know, you're welcome to like whichever one you like. They're both linked down in the description below if you're interested in picking one of these guys up. Any shopping you do with those links supports the channel at no cost to you. Check out my Amazon page, check out my Instagram, both linked down there as well. For me personally, because I like tune accuracy, Op Leader is my preferred. I think he's got the best bot tune accuracy. Also, I think he's got the best looking truck mode. And the more difficult transformation, or again, more steps in the transformation, doesn't bother me because it's so well engineered. It can be done so cleanly and smoothly. So it's not really a challenge in terms of juggling pieces and squeezing in parts and dealing with clearance and stuff like that. So though complex, for me, it's a satisfying transformation. I enjoy it. And that's why Op Leader is my favorite of these two, and I'll be looking forward to putting him side by side to Takara MP44 Convoy version 3 later this year. All right, guys, thanks for checking out the video. See you next time.